Hello and welcome to today's episode of Struggle to Strength, the podcast where we explore the incredible journeys of individuals who have been through some of life's toughest challenges and emerged stronger, wiser and more resilient. I'm your host Tyson Green, and today I've got an incredible guest for you. He's not only an old friend of mine, but he's also ex-British Army turned holistic businessman, and his story is nothing short of incredible. So without further ado, let's get straight into the episode. Okay, so welcome, Martin, to the Struggle to Strength podcast, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for taking your time out. For those that don't know who you are and what you do, can you give them a quick introduction?
Yeah, my name is Martin Little. I'm the founder of Health, Happiness and Healing. And I guess we're dedicated to supporting and empowering anyone and everyone to live a healthier, happier life and to heal from all the stuff that can hold us back.
Nice. So as I do with all my guests, I like to take it right back to the beginning. So kind of like probably putting my filmmaker head on now. I take it right to the beginning and tell a story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you could let us know how it was for you growing up, early life, and you know maybe go into a little bit of how your parents were.
My earliest memories are very, very fun. Just your typical childhood memories, I guess. Always out playing with my brother, having a lot of fun.
Nice.
And then that's when I experienced my first sort of traumatic experience as a very young boy. And that sort of changed my life from that point onwards.
Okay, happy to go into that or talk about
Yeah, of course. And I guess why I'm open to speaking freely about this sort of stuff is because it's so important, as you know, mate, to break the stigma of mental health issues, and traumatic experiences and what can hold us back, because there's a lot of pain, a lot of anger, a lot of guilt and a lot of shame that comes with certain things.
And we tend to hold it in, don't we, as opposed to talking about it, yeah.
Particularly for men as well, you know, programmed to be men's men and keep it in, man up there, exactly. So when I was a very young boy, I was sexually abused by a family member. And I always remember my mother telling me that, you know, when you was really little, you were such a polite, outgoing, friendly little boy, and then something just happened, you just changed. And she never really understood why or why that change took place.
Right.
And now obviously I am well aware why that happened.
Yeah.
So from then, I guess I became very closed and very frightened, very scared, very angry, very confused.
Yeah.
And that just sort of manifested into different areas throughout my childhood.
Right.
I.e. going off the rails and projecting that emotion that we're holding on to, the anger and the frustration.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I fell into the wrong crowd, but I attracted the wrong crowd for me.
Yeah. I suppose as from a parent's perspective, we've both got kids, so we know it's hard for you to sort of pinpoint these things. I think probably how old were you when that happened, when that all right?
Around 7-ish.
That's what I mean. So 7-year-olds are typically little shits anyway, aren't they? So you probably was, you know, I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, probably projecting it to in a way where you're screaming out for help in the form of tantrums and stuff like that without actually trying to say it. And your parents probably just looked at it like it's just a typical 7-year-old having a tantrum, just being a 7-year-old. Yeah. How was that for you? Like,
well, it's not funny. It's so typical, isn't it? That because when we're born into the world, we're highly conscious, we're pure, innocent, unconditional love, so innocent and pure, and then, you know, as we go on, we're programmed and conditioned to fit into the modern day society, which I guess has to happen. But when you go through any sort of abuse as a child, or maybe you don't get the love and support that you need as a child, we don't know how to deal with those emotions. So internally, all we know is we're very confused and we're so angry and sad at the same time. And we act out. And then if our parents don't know what's going on or the damage that they've caused or other people have caused, then they'll just see it as a tantrum. They'll see it as we're overacting, and generally what the parents say, they say, stop messing around, get to your room. Yeah. And it's just suppressing that emotion.
That's it.
And we do that later in life, don't we?
Yeah.
As soon as you're feeling emotional, oh God, no, suppress it.
Yeah.
Keep it buried deep in his own.
Keep it conditioned from young to be that way. Yeah, very much so. And you know, I've been to schools, and I don't know if you have with your business.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much schools they're now investing quite a bit into mental health awareness, which I've seen over years happening, but prior to that, there wasn't really much, especially when we were kids, that taught us how to deal with our emotions, how to, if we're having a situation, talk to somebody openly about the things. And, it's something that I think with the school curriculum now, I think it needs changing because it's very outdated. And I think that they need to make mental health a priority as part of the lessons. Like that, you have maths, science, English, biology, whatever. Mental health should be a subject that should be taught across the board. I don't know how you feel about that. But,
exactly that.
Especially with younger kids, if we teach them from young, before maybe something's happened or goes on in their life, it gives them the tools, doesn't it? They have then the foundations to deal with the situation and also have the knowledge to then speak out about it, as opposed to with your situation, suppressing it and having it vent out in the form of a tantrum. Do you know what I mean? But, the government won't change the regulations for us, but I don't know how you feel on that.
I think it'll take a long, long time to get to that point. However, I feel that the fact that we're having this conversation now compared to 10, 20 years ago, 30 years ago,
100%.
We're in this sort of evolution of consciousness at the minute. So these sort of things are becoming more common and more recognised, aren't they? And you get in different organisations, going to schools, doing different types of yoga.
Yeah, absolutely.
I taught at school, I've taught them breath work,
nice,
meditation, done some sound healing.
Oh, wicked.
And your book, Dr. Green, the Mind Monsters. My daughter's got that book. She loves it. Yeah, thanks for making it. It's beautiful. And like you mentioned, it's so important that we educate our children on how to, recognise them emotions and acknowledge them and know how to process them instead of being consumed by them, because later on in life that just manifests and we find ourselves consumed by that darkness. So there's many, many tools we could use, as we both know, and just sharing those gifts can be huge, and it'll change humanity.
Yeah, it does, because like you said, it just spills over into adult life, doesn't it? And it might not be 3, 4, 5, 10 years later that something happens. If you don't know how to deal with it, then you crash, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And it ends up spiraling into a situation that if you knew and you had the foundational tools to implement, then it wouldn't get as worse as it would, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? But so going back to early life, you said that you mentioned you went in, you got in with the wrong crowd. So let's touch on your teenage years. Let's go back to school. In fact, I already know the answer to this. I already know the answer to this. When we went to school together, right? So as soon as the crowd, I'm not going to say much, but for the viewers and the listeners, how was you in school?
High school was it's a bit of a mixed bag for me. First couple of years. So leading up to high school, I started getting badly bullied by my brother. So again, that just added to my frustration.
What were the reasons behind that? Did you know? Or did you
my brother? Yeah. My brother, recently I've only found out he had a very challenging childhood as well.
Right, okay.
Not from the same person, but very similar experiences. So again, it's no wonder why.
He was his outlet, mate.
Yeah, we often lost out of those people that are closest to us, don't we?
That's it.
And obviously I didn't see it at the time, and I resented him for many, many years until I realised, but the great gift about forgiving and learning other people to forgive and whatnot. But yeah, high school, so the first couple of years out, again, I was sort of badly bullied in that year 7 and 8. But year 9 onwards, sort of settled into myself a little bit, found people that I resonated with, and we got up to quite a bit of mischief.
We did definitely got up to some, in fact, I'm not even going to go into it, but
we find it funny how we were the way we were, and then look at us now doing this sort of stuff, talking about this sort of stuff. It's too little to go
on. I'm not even going to fucking hide. We used to smoke weed together and all sorts, but it weren't a bad thing. I don't think that we're, anything that did us any harm. Do you know what I mean? We used to meet up, we used to have a few drinks and, have a bit of a chong, if you want to say that. And I think it would, character building for us as teenagers, and it was, for me, when I look back on experiences through especially high school and that, they were good memories for me. There weren't anything bad about it. Do you know what I mean? So you said you got in with the wrong crowd. Can you touch on that? Like, what the sort of people, by myself, the people that you got in with, like?
Yeah, it's a funny one. I said the wrong crowd, but I was just very lost as well.
Yeah,
and I guess your vibe attracts your tribe. So if we've all got a sense of needed to fit in somewhere and a sense of belonging to find, then you attract your tribe, don't you? And we did have a lot of good experiences.
Yeah,
but it's not like a healthy lifestyle looking back. What we did, what we put in our bodies, what we did to other people.
Yeah.
You know, along my journey, I've caused a lot of people a lot of pain and suffering because I was so confused because of myself.
Same way, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? That resonates a lot. But again, it goes back to, you know, when we're talking about when you're a child. As a child, the only way that you can vent is having a tantrum. As adults, the only way we can vent, or what we think is the only way, is violence, drinking, drugs, and that's our cry for help, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's a silent cry for help. But as a teenager, everybody's pretty much drinking and smoking anyway, so you can blend it, can't you? You know what I mean? But
I guess that's one of the problems that we find in the modern day society.
Yeah.
What we consider to be normal, it's actually not normal.
It's unhealthy.
Yeah, it's so unhealthy, but there's so much programming and conditioning to
so.
make us feel there's no other way.
Finish work Friday, you had a shit week, get on it.
Yeah.
No, that's basically what it is, isn't it? Yeah. And it's sad that it is that way, but, you know, as you grow older, you realise, or some people do realise that it's not the way. So was, you know, when you was getting in with this wrong crowd and you was doing what you was doing, you know, high school or post high school, was there a single point where you thought to yourself, right, this is not fucking for me, I need to make a change and do something different? Or did you sort of continue into your ways?
Yeah, I guess after high school, I went to college for a year.
Right.
And at that point, 16, 17,
Yeah.
I was pretty much an alcoholic at that point.
Right, so still drinking?
Yeah, heavily. Yeah, in the morning before I went to college, during the daytime.
College is it? It's party, isn't it?
Light time, yeah. And I was so engrossed in that lifestyle. All I wanted to do was chase girls, get drunk, and just numb the pain by doing all these things.
Yeah.
And it's such a typical thing we see day to day, isn't it now?
Yeah.
So at one point during college, I just realised that this wasn't for me, but I also realised that I needed to do something. And I honestly considered it either be prison or a coffin.
Right.
So I ended up joining the army.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was all the shit that you went through your teenage years a catalyst to you joining the army? Did you sort of think, right, okay, I need to fucking get out of this situation and join the army, or was you always wanting to join the army, or did someone sway you into joining the army? What because obviously there's so many different avenues you could have took, but why the military? What swayed you towards the military and the army?
Well, I guess at the time I felt it was a bit out of desperation.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere, but I knew what I was doing was destroying myself.
Yeah.
I didn't really know a lot about the military at the time. I ended up just signing up on a whim more than anything.
Yeah.
No romantic story behind it. However, it did provide me with a lot of powerful experiences.
Yeah.
Some good, some challenging times, but no romantic story behind it. But I ended up joining the military, and that sort of took me away from the lifestyle that I was consumed by at that time.
Which is a nice segue into my next question. The people that you was hanging around with pre-army, how did they feel about you leaving? Was there any sort of negativity that come from that?
I guess I got a bit of support off me, the true friends, but the majority of opinions were that you'll never make it. You're too much of a rebel to. You can't be doing with the discipline. But it's exactly what I needed, that discipline, and just be told do this, do that, just switch off the structure. That's what I liked all my life. Being so confused and whatnot,
and that resonates so much. Obviously, we're both ex-military, and you know how I was as a teen. Exactly the same thing. And they said no, join the army, be the best shit. But I don't look back at my military service and think I made a mistake. Yeah, like you say, it teaches you structure. It gives you life lessons as well. And a lot of, I don't know about you, there's a lot of people out there whose parents weren't really giving them what they need for life. Talking about life lessons. In the army, it gives you that, doesn't it? It gives you that sense of purpose. It gives you structure. It gives you all these different things that some parents, if you haven't got the parents, they could. Well, I'm trying to go with this. What parents can't teach you or haven't taught you, you'll learn in the army.
Yeah, I think exactly that. I mean, I feel that most people that do join the army, they join because they're looking for that family element. They're looking to fit in somewhere. Yeah. They were all a little bit lost. Exactly. And it's probably because our parents, they might have been beautiful parents, but a lot of time we didn't have the love and support that we needed as children to grow into our full potential. So the military does provide that quite easily, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So let's touch on your military career. Let's start with P Company. So fuck me, I know P Company's no easy feat, mate. Obviously, I've had friends who've done it. I got asked to do it, and I said no. It's simple, math. I said I'm not fucking jumping out of a plane, no fucking chance. So yeah, what was that like doing the course? Because it's like I said, it's no easy course.
Yeah.
And what did you take away from it when you did it?
Yeah, it's like I say, it's a very physically, mentally demanding thing. So I passed all my sort of basic training courses, and then they were going to post me to Germany,
Right.
which I didn't really want at the time. So an option was do P Company, pass it, and stay in England. So that was quite a good incentive for me.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, you go through pre-pilot, you go into P Company, and just very, very intensive physically, mentally. I reckon about halfway through P Company, I picked up a stress fracture.
Shoot.
So I was popping like,
Fucking worst place.
oh, horrendous, isn't it? But having gone through most of it already, I think I got to test week at this point and I thought, there's no way I'm pulling out.
So started not going to go and do it again.
Yeah. So I was popping like 6 briefing and 6 paracetamol before each session twice a day, just to numb the pain so I could keep on going through.
Wow.
And I guess what that taught me, and it's a value that I still hold very dearly today, is that no matter how bad the pain gets, you can always keep moving forwards. You've just got to be in the right mindset to get you there.
No, that's good advice, mate, to be fair. So it's fair to say that it taught you a lot of resilience, yeah?
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that? Yeah. That's good, man.
But it also, on the flip side, it also taught me to numb my emotions more so.
Right, you do, but the military does, though.
Yeah. And I get it.
Yeah, because we're killing machines always. You know what I'm saying? If they approach it in a way where it's sort of like, right, yeah, you can't do this, and sort of pink and fluffy, if you want to call them that, how are we supposed to face certain situations when we're in a combat element? Do you know what I mean? It's setting us up for failure, isn't it? If they sort of do, well, I think nowadays it's a lot different. As I know, there's still people that are in, but if they don't have that sort of harsh discipline, then when we face situations on ops, we'll crumble, won't we? We'll crumble.
Yeah, I get it. It's an important part of making a soldier a soldier.
Yeah.
But I don't know, my perspective of the military has changed quite a lot now, because I see and I work close with a lot of veterans who are suffering massively through trauma that's been stemmed through the service. And because we don't know how to deal with that and sort of get left to your own device once you leave the military, a lot of that is instilled in you to not face your emotions. And for me personally, I don't know what you were like, but where I was based, we had something called babooning. I won't go into detail about it, but you were literally physically punished if you showed a flicker of emotion, and wow, it hurt.
Yeah. And I know, where you, was it 16 or so?
Yeah.
So therefore, I've had a few friends who were based there, and it's a whole campus in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. It's absolutely wild, yeah.
This is the army, and there's 16 or so.
Yeah, I look back now, and my nickname was Stu, after Stu Little.
Yeah.
And I was what they called a howler, and I used to be really proud on being this intimidating, disgusting man.
Yeah.
And the things we did back then, absolutely horrendous, but we all thought it was funny. We all thought it was a laugh, and that's how delusion we were.
Yeah. And I suppose that's, again, if you didn't take part in these different things that everybody else was doing, you get shunned, wouldn't you? In a sense,
Yeah, you get bullied.
You get bullied. Yeah. I know there were lads in our camp, and we'd be doing, I don't want to go into details, the type of shit that we were doing in the military, typical squaddy shit.
Yeah.
And there was lads like, oh, I ain't doing that. And then you're like, oh, you fucking boring cunt. And then you don't, for the rest of the posting, they just get pissed took out. And you're thinking that's tight as fuck, just because they had a backbone and stood up on themselves. You know what I mean? You should have, because we can't stand up for ourselves. Absolute powers. It's weakness in it. Yeah, it is. It's a weakness. You know, let's go on to operations. So, how many ops did you deploy on when you was
two? Deployed on two. Finished one in
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a single event that obviously we discussed when you was in Afghanistan. Do you want to sort of go into that into detail and maybe take us back to the day? How was that day for you? How did it all pan out and how it ended?
Yeah, so that was on my first operational tour to Afghan in 2008. And we've been out there about 3 months at the time, and it was relatively quiet. We had no contacts or anything. We used to get RDF and air base from Taliban each day, but no contacts or anything. It was quite quiet.
Yeah.
And then we'd been on a patrol one day, we'd been out for about 6 hours, just on the way back from my father, about a kilometre away, and we stopped in a little T-junction of compounds, and two of the guys that were next to me went to search a local that looked a little bit suspicious, and we had a section commander knelt down by my side, and maybe 100 guys behind me, and I just said to the section commander, which way do you want everyone to come in, left or right? I can't remember what he said. I just turned around to tell the person behind me, and just this huge explosion went off. And at the time, it just felt like I'd been hit with a bat all over my body at the same time, and I had this immense ringing in my ears. I wasn't unconscious, didn't fall over. I just looked down and noticed that my LNG, my weapon, had just been blown to bits, and my arm was all petaled out like a flower and shit, and just bleeding from various places. And then I guess I just followed someone's voice shouting, "Stew, Stew!" I just followed this voice into the dust, and eventually seen one of my friends, and he just sat me down. And then a medic came running through, and then just got a bit of treatment and patched me up and gave me some morphine, and then we had to wait for some vehicles to back us out.
Wow.
And
so how did that affect you? Well, physically, we know, if you don't mind, I don't know if you can see the scars on your arm. The physical implications, you probably had to do a lot of fucking rehab for that, didn't you? Oh, what was that like? Again, that probably had its mental toll as well, because are you right-handed as well? So that's your fucking main hand as well. So your main hand's out of service.
It is, and this is the military humour for you. When I was at hospital in Bastion, my friends came and see me and gave me a porn mag. Knowing I was right-handed.
Typical.
But yeah,
making humour out of a bad situation.
Yeah, and it's a good quality now. Yeah, it is. So that incident, it killed 3 of the 2 para lads that were there as well.
Oh no.
So I was very, very fortunate,
Yeah.
And I guess at the time, what happened to me didn't seem to bother me. It was seeing the other lads in bits and seeing their friends trying to save their lives, seeing how that affected them emotionally at the time. That really stuck with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, initially they weren't too sure if I was going to lose my arm when I was in Afghan, getting my first sort of operations. And then I was back in UK within 24 hours.
Wow.
And then, I went for a skin graft and a couple of operations. And then I went into rehab. I was there for about 18 months in total, year and a half. And for like 3 months, just spent time just pushing my fingers into plasticine, just getting to work the nerves again and to build that strength back up. Yeah. And that was at a place called Headley Court.
Yeah, no, you were main hospital.
Yeah, and that's a really good facility. Like, they do so much good work there.
Yeah, top notch.
Yeah, it's a shame that sort of level of help's not available when you leave the military, because what they do there is really, really special.
Yeah.
And then, after that, I'd finished rehab, I got released back into barracks, and then started going out and drinking again, and started getting into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so while I was still serving.
Yeah, still serving at this point. And so the military then sent a psychiatrist out, and she basically said, "What's going on?" I said, "Well," and at this point I'm crying out for help, because I knew I was so angry and something was not right. Just that vibration of anger underneath my skin at all times. So I told her what had happened, and I said, when I go out drinking, I get all these emotions coming up, I don't have to deal with it, and I just lash out at the nearest person and get into a fight. And her advice at the time was, well, stop drinking. And then she said, and if you try not to talk about it, eventually the thoughts will go away.
Oh my fucking...
And I'm not a trained psychiatrist, but I knew that was the worst advice ever.
Fuck me.
So at that point, I just sort of gave up hope. I thought, well, if that's my cry for help, and that's what I'm going to get, I said, there is no help, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a sad thing. There is a lot that fails within the military, not going too much into my story and swaying away from it, but I had to go through 3 different psychiatrists. The first one just was chucking paper at me, and I was like, what the fuck's this? The second one, I think they were ready to leave, so there was no point in, you can't build that sort of trust with them, because you could tell that the person wanted to go. He's just like, yeah, okay, right, what's up? And it was very robotic, no emotion behind it. And then I finally got a third one. He was fairly new, but I felt the difference. You thought, right, this person knows her shit. And in the first session, crying, floods of fucking tears. She tapped into my childhood, everything. I'm like, you fucker. Do you know what I mean? Where you think, right, you brought me, you mastered it, you know what I mean? But at the same time, even having that, it's such a feeling of relief, isn't it? Where you open up and you have that sort of.
And that's why I find myself now. I'm extremely grateful for every single experience that I've been through, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
100%.
Because true growth comes through pain.
It does.
But once you learn it's okay to face them fears and bring it all up so you can process it and let them release that emotional attachment, you feel free of that weight of trauma, don't you?
Yeah, you do. It's like the analogy I always use. I say it's like taking a Bergen off after a fucking.
So I say it's like taking a weighted jacket off you never knew you were wearing.
Yeah, you just drop it and you think, "Fan fuck for that." Yeah. So, how long did you continue service after that happened?
So after I got released from the rehab place, it was about 12 months after that. Then we redeployed to Afghanistan,
Right.
And then I went back on a second tour, which I managed to complete a full tour.
After your injury as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it again.
Yeah.
You know, like, how did that feel like, knowing obviously what happened, and then you basically just built yourself up to full fitness, and then you're going back out?
Well, because I was so angry and so consumed by my ego, I just felt like I've been beaten. So I couldn't wait to go back. I couldn't wait to go back to prove to myself and prove to others that I won't be beaten. Do you know what I mean?
Was there an element of revenge in there as well?
Principally, I thought you had the intention of going out there and doing what I thought I needed to do at the time.
Yeah.
And that second tour, although I came out of it relatively unscathed, it was so kinetic. Like, we were fighting almost every single day.
Yeah. Many losses from your lads? Or?
Yeah, there are quite a few. And, personally, I helped save one of my friends that were a triple amputee, and helped put tourniquets on him, and another lad that had all his stomach blown out. And
what was that like? Let's touch on that if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind, no.
Yeah, so what happened was you in fact, just can you go into this, like, how it built up to the situation?
Yeah, so when it was our section commander, a guy called Bodgy, Josh Bodgy. You might have seen him, actually. He does quite a lot of fundraising work all over now. He's doing really well. But at the time, he was marking the spray paint while someone was searching across the road so we could get a safe route across this road. And about 15 minutes before this, one of the Royal Irish attachments, he also got blown up by standing on IED, and he was a triple amputee as well. So everyone was a bit shook up, and it should have actually been me that was spray painting the road. And I'd have said to Bodgy, "I'm just going to have a fag. Can you do this for me?" He went, yeah, no worries. Yeah, and then, a couple of minutes later, so it's this huge explosion, and seeing Bodgy had been blown into a ditch, and
Shit.
legs were gone, and one of his arms were all messed up. And so I just jumped in there and put tourniquets on, and he eventually got backed out.
Right. And again, I've asked the question from the situation, what happened with yourself. What were the implications of that on you? Because obviously it's not something that you can see it on the fucking TV all day and think, whatever. But when it's happening in real life and shit's hitting the fan. So how did that make you feel when you've obviously saved your friend, but it's when you're alone with your thoughts? How did that make you feel? Did that have any implications, if any, when you was back in barracks on your own?
Yeah, massively. The pain that you experience, I don't even know how to put it into words, to be honest. You're just in such a dark place because you're so confused, so scared and so angry. It's just you're just consumed by that darkness.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see a way out of that.
So when you come back, was it back to basically how it was when you got blown up, going out on the piss, same sort of release?
Yeah, same sort of release, mate. I went to the same. We often look for distractions whenever we don't know how to deal with our emotions, in the form of, smoking, drinking, drugs, watching violent films, sex, pornography, masturbation, whatever it may be. There's all these things we turn to give us that quick release. Drinking drugs were well up there for me. Was quite a common thing back then. And I think just as I come back from that second tour, that's when I decided that, I went on that tour to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And being in rehab really slowed my career down. My generation then get promoted. So I thought I'm just going to stay in, go on another tour, do what I need to do, and then leave. And that's when I left. And as soon as I come back, and then
did you get any sort of therapy leading up to you leaving, or was it just a case of sign off?
That was it, yeah. There were no questions about it. But I guess I was very good at hiding it.
Yeah.
Like I guess most of us are. We're masters of camouflage.
100%.
Not from hiding how we feel to other people, but how did I feel to ourselves? We just completely emotionally numb it down, don't we?
Yeah, that's it. And it's hard for people to even notice the signs and symptoms because we're that good at it.
Yeah, they hide behind a smile far too easy.
100%.
And we see this with celebrities, though. They've got all the materialistic possessions in the world, and you think, I'd love to have your life. But they still can be absolutely miserable.
That's the thing. You can have the world at your feet. And if you're not mentally strong and mentally fit, whatever you get is irrelevant. You need to have that foundation, don't you? You need to be mentally strong to an extent and sort of be in tune with yourself. Otherwise, they can chuck millions of pounds at you, but then you'll be a rich, sad millionaire. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you didn't get therapy. You signed off. You left the military. What did you do post Army career?
I went straight into maritime security. So just protecting super yachts or commercial vessels from pirates for 5 years. I'll tell you what, mine now.
I bet you've got some stories. So you've basically gone from one volatile job to another.
Yeah, so when I told my mum, said, "Mum, I'm leaving the army," she was, "Oh, Martin, thank God."
To go to Cyrus.
It's like, for fuck's sake, Martin, why can't you get a normal job?
Oh my God, put your mum through it, man.
Yeah. So she was traumatized again. But the maritime, it was a nice transition because you're working around military guys majority of the time.
Yeah.
But it got to a point when I was the team leader. It was just myself with 2 foreign nationals, maybe from the Indian Navy or some foreign navy.
Yeah.
And then working with a foreign crew. Also, again, that was quite a lonely job, but I really enjoyed the lifestyle because I just take my fishing stuff, go sea fishing.
Yeah. So quite tranquil at times, I bet.
Yeah. Meet people from all over the world, and the threat level was, relatively low doing that sort of job as well.
Did anything like stand out? What happened when you was doing that job? And it was any crazy moments that sort of happened?
There were a couple of close calls, but nothing too severe. I think the more severe one for me was the last job I actually did. We were just escorting a tugboat from somewhere in India up to Cairo. So we're sailing through the Gulf of Aden, which at the time was a pirate hotspot.
Yeah.
And we got approached off the mother vessel. The mother vessel launched 6 skiffs, small speedboats. And in each skiff there were 6 to 8 pirates, all AKs and RPGs, And there's me and 2 foreign nationals who didn't really know how to use a weapon. I don't actually want to go into details about that, but yeah, that was a bit of a cheeky one.
Right,
yeah.
fucking hell. But you're here though, man. You fucking...
Yeah.
I tell you what, you survived some situations, man. Do you know what I mean?
Massively, yeah. But it was actually, it was that time doing the maritime security that I realised that I was really, really lost and really suffering with mental health issues. The PTSD was almost at an all-time high for me at that point.
Right.
And it's when I came back to England, because when I was working away, I had a weapon in my hands 24/7, and I felt peaceful because I was in that hostile environment. And for me, that's where I functioned the best.
Yeah.
I was most effective as long as I was in a dangerous place, which is so messed up. And that's why
It's really...
there's so many veterans now that I know that have left the military many years ago. They said, I paid money to go back to Afghanistan now. I'd love to be back in Iraq now.
Yeah.
And because the trauma they're holding on to is still from the past, they can't be in the present or move forward.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's a cycle, isn't it? It just keeps going round and round. And, when you speak to someone or you get therapy, that it breaks that cycle. But if you're not doing anything to get over it as such, probably not the best word to use, but to, heal or manage it up, it's just like a spinning wheel. Yeah, it's the wheel. It goes round and round and now here's the trauma again, here's the trauma again, here's the trauma again, until you find the courage to get help or whatever.
Yeah.
So, what did you do after you finished with your maritime?
So I came back from the maritime for quite a bit, just because the work slowed right down.
Yeah.
And that's when I guess that I really hit rock bottom with the mental health issues, and it got to the point where I was hearing voices during the day telling me to hurt myself. I was massively addicted to drugs. I couldn't leave the apartment I was in. And it got to the point where I tried taking my own life.
Right.
And obviously I'm very fortunate to be here now. And then my dad passed away, and I was very close to my dad. And with him passing away, it was like lighting a fuse to a bomb in my mind. The thing is with PTSD, as you probably know, mate, when you go to bed at night, all the other mental health issues get put back in the bookcase, but the PTSD book stays out, and you can't sleep, you get the nightmares, you get the day terrors, and I just genuinely was very scared and just did not want to be alive anymore.
And you didn't reach out to anybody for help at that point, did you? Was it something that you just kept with yourself?
Yeah,
trying to self-heal, basically.
Yeah, that's all I knew. All I knew was to try and numb the pain with drink, drugs, violence, sex. And once that stopped working, it felt like there was no other way out, and I didn't know any other way out because I'd not been shown another way out. I didn't know anyone else. I didn't know anybody else that had managed to get out of that sort of situation.
Yeah.
And then the NHS did assign some psychiatrists to me at the time, but I didn't resonate with them at all. And I guess they were very intellectual people, but they basically just regurgitated information that they've learned. They couldn't feel what I was feeling, just like speaking to a robot.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to do it again, give me a call. No. We'll just try to give me a call. No. Okay, we'll leave to it. And just almost part. I guess they've got a tick box exercise.
It's just, for some, it's just a paycheck, isn't it? Yeah, it's just it's a payment. Yeah, and that's where, again, you know, it's about finding the right sort of psychiatrist or the right healing process. It's an individual thing, isn't it? You know, they say, you know, I talk about it a lot about speaking out. Speaking out is only the first step. And, you know, you can say, right, speak out and go speak to a therapist and go get help. But that doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. You know what I'm saying? Each person has their own individual way of healing trauma. And you know, there's so many different practices, what we can do, which leads me on to, you know, what you do now. So at what point did you think, right, you know, these things that I've been through and I've experienced through life, I can help other people with, you know, their sort of experiences and traumas? Did you have a single moment where you thought, right, you know what, I've been through so much shit, I'd like to help other people? Or was there another way that you went into it and led into where you are now?
Yeah, so if I reflect back now, after everything I've been through from childhood up until now, it's all happened for a reason.
Yeah.
Because I've managed to come out on the other side and I've found all these beautiful tools and techniques and ancient healing modalities to get me where I am.
Yeah.
And now I can resonate with so many people that have either suffered childhood abuse or suffered with PTSD. And that's why I work with so many people that are still in that period of suffering, to help share these tools that have been around for, you know, thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, which a lot of the time, because it's so old, people don't really look into that.
Yeah, that way. Yeah. And, you know, I think it's designed that way, because if everyone had the capability and the knowledge on how to regulate their emotions, how to process the shit that they've been through, we wouldn't need to rely on modern day medication. We won't be poisoning our minds and bodies, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's obviously not very cost effective for the powers that be, is it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly that. It's a, you know, $1 billion, multi-billion-pound business.
Yeah, it's madness. So when I was like in the darkest of days, as I call it, one day I just had this overwhelming calling to go for a walk outside in nature, and I listened to it and I went out. And I came back feeling really peaceful. And the first time I felt peaceful in many, many years. And I couldn't really understand why. And then I realised it's because I was present. I wasn't being tormented by the past or the future. I wasn't worried about anything. I was just in the moment.
One with yourself.
Yeah. And that just sort of snowballed. So I started looking at different ways I can enhance that feeling. I came across things like breath work and cold water therapy.
Yeah.
And then I started spending a lot of time going wild camping by myself, and 2 or 3 people said to me, "Oh, you should do this as a business, you know, take people out on trips." And they planted the seed, you know, for me to grow into what I do now.
Oh, nice one.
And then I started crossing paths with different members of different spiritual communities and different teachers and facilitators of all these beautiful methods. And everyone's got their own little bit of wisdom, their own gift to share. I just started taking inspiration on who resonated with me and what resonated with me. And yeah, it's just continued to grow.
Nice one. So that's what inspired you to birth health, healing, and happiness, right?
Health, happiness, health, healing.
Yeah,
bit of a mouthful in it.
Yeah. I'll just say triple H. Triple H is easier. So yeah, like you said, everything happens for a reason, and that's, you know, such an inspiring journey that you've been on to lead you to this point, to help people who are in a similar position than what you was in. Do you know what I mean? That's amazing, mate. You know, and that's off to you. So when you realised that you wanted to start a business and, you know, obviously help other people through your business. What was the vision? Did you have a vision? Did you have something but you thought, right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that? Or was it just something that you thought, right, I can help people and I'll just sort of roll with the punches?
So I guess when I first started out, I was still quite military orientated, because before it was health, happiness and healing, it was called Pegasus Trips.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So
I remember,
when I first started, it was mainly just like a wild camping experience. Right. So I take people out into the mountains, do a lot of training on the hills and camp out and have some nice fire and a bit of food and whatnot. And then the more I continued along my own healing journey, then I started to look at the trauma from the military, the trauma from Afghan. Yeah. And then I managed to use different techniques to release those weights of trauma. And then I stepped away from that military sort of mindset.
Yeah.
And I realised, there's more in this. And I looked at the things that I started to really help myself, and I started to help the odd person that were quite close to me with similar problems. And I guess, I've realised that there's a lot more in this. So then I rebranded as Health, Happiness and Healing, because that's what I want. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to support and empower others to live healthier and happier and to remove all the weights of trauma.
And it's the perfect name for what you actually do.
Yeah, it is what it says, isn't it?
Yeah, it says is what it says on the tin.
That's the one.
So yeah, with that being said, you offer a range of different services, don't you? I've had a look through your website many a times, and I've seen that it seems like you've got so many bolt-ons, which are amazing things that you do. Would you mind going into the different things that you do? You know, if you can remember off the top of your head, what sort of things that you offer through your business?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, every different type of experience we do facilitate, it's all designed to help people raise their vibration energetically so they can process things, what they need to process, raising the vibration, raising the consciousness, helping us to understand there's so many layers that can be so deep rooted. Yeah. So many limiting beliefs that we have in place, and we're just not aware of them. Yeah. But there's loads of different beautiful methods and techniques to help us grow that awareness. Yep. And so it allows us to do the work that we need to do for ourselves. And then we do things like sound healing, breath work, meditation, different types of yoga. Cold water therapy is a big one.
I saw you, was it yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday morning. Yeah,
well, you said, I've had a bit of a day, I'm feeling a bit sluggish, but I'm going to plunge in this. And where was that at?
Down in Cambridge.
Was it in Cambridge? Yeah.
And it's so typical, isn't it? Like, how often is it so common for us to wake up in the morning, snooze your alarm, think, oh no, I don't want to get out of bed. You just snooze, and you're in a rush, you're in a bit of a groggy mindset, you take it into the day with you, and you start being snappy with people. You're much more susceptible to be reactive to someone or something.
100%.
So yeah, the cold water therapy for me, it's a beautiful tool because it always triggers thoughts, it always triggers unconscious thoughts, and we experience well over 70,000 thoughts every single day. And how many of those thoughts are actually serving as a purpose, and now they're actually holding us up?
A lot of them hold us back.
So for me, like every time, and I do it daily, but still every time I go to get in a bit of a cold shower, a river, a waterfall, whatever it may be, thoughts are there. Don't do it. It's cold. You'll be uncomfortable. You'll be freezing. But deep down, we've got to listen to that inner voice, because I know that cold water therapy, I'm going to feel rejuvenated after. I'm going to feel invigorated. It's going to set me up for the day. But it's just so typical, and we can bring that across in other aspects of our life, I guess. Just being aware.
It teaches you discipline as well. Yeah. Discipline involved. Yeah,
massively.
Funny enough, I this morning I stayed in the hotel on my old estate in Preston, New Orleans. Yeah. So where the hotel is, there's fucking prostitutes, everything walking past. So I had a shit sleep last night, I'm not going to lie to you, probably about 3 hours skip or something like that. And I woke up and I thought, I'll have my shower and then I'm going to switch it to the fucking coldest setting. And I just stood there, mate, and I was like, I think I might have screamed as well. But after I had it, I thought, fucking hell, it woke me up. Yeah, you know, as it would, because it's fucking old as shit. Yeah. But throughout today, I've not felt that lagging feeling what I had before I got into the shower. So I'm thinking to myself, if I wouldn't have got that cold shower, would I have been sort of monging it today? Would I have been, in sort of like a slump position, not so motivated, you know what I mean? So, it just goes to show, and I think your video yesterday motivated me to do that this morning.
Oh, nice.
Nice one, mate.
Nice, yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, it's so important to have, for me personally, a morning practice, to dedicate a little bit of time to yourself.
100%.
that's going to set you up for the day. And it's not the experience, not experience what we've either been through or we're going to go through in the next day. It's not the experience that's the problem. It's how we perceive it that's the issue.
Yep.
So if we manage to remain present for the majority of our time, then we can process things. We're not reactive. We can just respond and be aware of other people's actions and reactions, just go on about our day.
Yeah. What's the saying? Respond and not react.
Yeah.
So you're responding. If you're reacting, it's a snappy.
Yeah, and that's fight or flight.
Yeah, fight or flight. And if you're responding, you're taking a step back.
Yeah.
Thinking about the situation. Yeah.
And I guess that's the problem, you know. It's because so many of us, we carry so much emotional baggage and trauma because we've not had the love and support, we've been hurt, whatever, we've made to feel vulnerable and scared, and we don't know how to project, we don't know how to deal with all that. So we are in that state of fight or flight all the time.
Constantly.
Our sympathetic nervous system is so rife, we're constantly in that fight or flight. And while we're in that state, we're also releasing cortisol, which disrupts our immune system. So physically, mentally, we're just in shit state.
Yeah, that's open you up to illnesses and stuff like that, isn't it? Yeah. When you break it down, it doesn't have no benefit at all to be angry and sad more time, does it? But then that's obviously with what you do, helps people understand that, you know, these sort of practices, what you do, whether it's cold water therapy, sound healing, meditation, it doesn't have to be an hour a day. It doesn't have to be put into, I think people get it twisted. Like, I don't really think, I don't have a fucking half an hour to do that. You can spend 5 minutes meditating, 2 minutes, as long as you take that time to sort of be one with yourself and reset and sort of evaluate your situation. And you have that it's like a factory reset button, in it, and then you're ready for the day, especially if you do it at the start of your day.
Yeah, I think, we're quite used to, when we are feeling a little bit shit, we want a quick fix. That's why we look for these distractions, usually in unhealthy lifestyle choices. And when you come to these sort of techniques, the holistic methods, they might not feel such an impact immediately. However, when used consistently, they get to the root cause of trauma. They get to the root cause of it, so we can literally remove it and let go of it. And every time we have one of them energetic shifts, we have fresh new perspectives coming, and then we're able to just level up that little bit more, bit by bit.
100%.
And like you said, just being consistent with 5-10 minutes a day, if you can be, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, that's it. People are quick to say, I don't have the time. We've got 24 hours in the day. I mean, so you can't tell me you can't spare 5 minutes to, for yourself. It's not for anybody else. It's for you, isn't it? Yeah.
And I think a lot of people simply not ready to face their emotions. That's why people will palm it off as spiritual woo-woo bullshit. And I get that all the time, and I get it, and that's fine. But a lot of us aren't ready to face them emotions and face those fears. So, and subconsciously, we like the norm, we like the predictable. So when you're doing something that's going to bring up emotions, you're like, oh God, no, that feels horrible.
It's an uncomfortable.
Just like telling a naughty child off, you're putting that emotion down, just bury it down deep.
It's
hard.
That's what we do regularly as human beings, don't we? But then it's up to us to unlearn them bad habits. So it's fair to say that you probably worked with a fair few people with a fair few different bits of trauma from different things that they've gone through in life. What's been the most rewarding thing that you've done, or what's come out of you starting the business and working with the different types of people?
There's no one time that stands out as the most rewarding, but every time I facilitate a different experience and I'm there to witness someone having a massive cry or physically releasing something that's been weighing them down for many, many years. Every single moment that happens, every single time, it's just, I feel incredibly grateful just to witness and know that somebody is going to feel a lot better moving forwards for the rest of their life. And that's what drives me to keep doing it.
I can only imagine it's a very rewarding job.
Massively.
Especially like you say, when you see the transformation of it, because do you work with, is it sort of like where you go away with your clients or the people that you work with, and do you have a sort of like continued level of support with them, or is it just with the experience? For example, you might go away for 2-3 days. Do you continue to connect with them people, or is it?
Yeah, so at the moment we do day experiences. I go to different organisations and deliver sessions and whatnot, and then take people away into the wilderness, do what we call wilderness wellbeing retreats. Take away for 2-3 days at a time and do loads of different activities, and they all play their own part. And then, if I always say to people, if anyone does need to talk or help processing something, I'm always there.
Yeah.
That doesn't go for just for people that I work with. It goes to absolutely anybody.
I've seen your videos online.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And you do regularly say, if, friends, family, anybody watching this video, etc., don't hesitate to...
Yeah, of course.
If you want to come on my retreats, I've seen a lot of your videos that you put out. It's amazing that because it's not easy to offer an open ear, because that can, again, get overwhelming to a certain extent, can't it? You know what I mean?
It can, and I've had to learn how to look after myself. So when you have got a lot of people releasing stuff, you can feel very heavy after it. So it's really important to know what works for you and how to shift that and how to ground yourself and how to make yourself present and feel safe again.
Yeah.
What's coming on to them? That's gone.
I was on about sort of like the longevity of working with different clients, weren't I? So I was talking about when you work with the different people, and then you was mentioning how you take them on retreats and then you offer services after the retreat.
Yeah. So next year, we're taking a bit of a different sort of direction. So we're going to be putting different programs together, reaching out to various organisations that support various demographics of people that are suffering with various issues, and then we're going to give them continued support for maybe like 3 months, 6 months, 12-month programs, and reaching out and just helping more people, I guess.
Nice one. So looking back, what would you say the biggest lessons that you've learned from childhood through teenage years, through army career, up to where you are now at this point in life?
The biggest lessons?
Yeah, or lessons or lesson, I could probably gather that there's a few.
Yeah. So I really do believe that everything happens for a reason. I believe that true growth comes through pain. However, I understand that when you're in the thick of it, it's really hard to see a way out. But if everyone had awareness of all these different tools and techniques we can use, it helps us navigate each day that little bit better, little bit by bit. And it can make a huge difference to how we think and feel.
Yeah. So, finishing up, what advice would you have to anybody that's going through something similar to what we've just covered throughout the podcast? What would you say from your perspective and from your experience? What would you say to somebody who's maybe gone through something the same or similar?
Well, I guess I can really resonate with people that are suffering because, like I said before, when you're in it, you're in it. You can't. It's very hard to see a way out.
Yeah.
And our society, there's not many options apart from medication or your modern day psychiatrists, which aren't that helpful. They don't get to the root cause of it a lot of the time. So for anyone that is in a dark place at the moment or in a challenging time, I'd really suggest reaching out to someone like myself or another practitioner or like yourself that's been through those hard times and found the tools that have helped them, and just understand and try different things and see what resonates with you to help make you feel and think that little bit better each day.
Yeah, that's great advice, mate. And anybody that's watching, listening, the first step, as we covered before, is speaking, and that's probably the hardest step, I think, for most. To engage that initial conversation. And I know, especially as us burly blokes, we tend to not want to show vulnerability. I think that's our problem in today's society. In today's society, is opening up because we don't want to lose face. We don't want people to think, we're weak. We don't want to show weakness.
Just give you a good example of that. So since I've been able to process what happened as a child, I've now removed the emotional attachment from every single one of them experiences. Since I've mentioned that time of my life to a few people, I've since had 5 people that I've known for many, many years come out and say they've had the same things. They suffered very similar abuse and they've never told a single soul. And just breaking that stigma and knowing it's okay to talk about it. And a lot of the reasons are we're scared of people judging us, or we're scared of the fear of facing all that emotion again. But you're very right, mate. Reaching out and just understanding it's okay to talk.
What can we expect from the future of Triple H? I'm not going to say it all of them.
Triple H and something to doing it. Health, happiness and healing. So there's a lot of things in the pipeline, and this year I've took a bit of a step back from the business this year because I've been doing a lot of work on myself because I know I can be much more effective in helping others and support them in their journeys.
Yeah.
So next year it's going to take off. We're looking to find our own space in nature, put like a nice little accommodation on it. Yeah, and just have a constant safe space where people can come and we can do all these different sessions. We're also branching out and working with different organisations and charities on a much larger scale. Currently writing a book, and that should be out back end of next year.
Yes, nice one.
Yeah, and then just doing more charity events, I guess. Yeah, just raising awareness about what we do.
So for those that are interested in following your journey, based off obviously the podcast, where can we follow Triple H on social media?
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, got a website. So yeah, full shit.
Yeah, well, what's the handle for the handle for the different things like Instagram? What's your at?
At /health/happiness/healing.
I got you back, you fucker.
We'll put the link in the description.
To be fair, I'll put the link up as you say it anyway in the video. So yeah, to be honest with you, that was a great conversation, and we touched on a lot of different things, different types of traumas, different experiences, and I think that's, again, I keep saying it's important for us to talk about it, man to man, man to wife, etc., etc. And yeah, and I can only say thank you for sharing your story, and thanks for your time for coming here and opening up and talking about it. So yeah, I wish you all the best as well for your business. And yeah, again, thanks for your time.
Yeah, before we finish, can I say that for most of my life, I've lived it in fear, in judgment, just scared of everything. I was very vulnerable. Yeah. But it's by doing all the good work and crossing paths with so many inspiring people like yourself, mate. You're making a huge difference to so many of us.
I appreciate it.
And there's so many beautiful, talented people out there to support people that are in a bad place. So yeah, mate, I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'll do a nice one. Packed again, man. And that's it.